Hello guys, it's me again, Insane Gorilla, and welcome back to my channel. And this is going to be what if Bel was the Witch King of Angmar from Lord of the Rings. Welcome back to this story, one that I am currently redoing, so don't be mad at me for what I am doing. Like I said, it's just me redoing it. So, we start this redo of this story in Middle Earth, where Sauron was defeated and the Witch King of Angmar was destroyed, along with the rest of the 8 Nazgûl. But when all their souls were defeated, the Valar the father of the Valar decided that the void near Morgoth was not suitable for Sauron and his minions. So he creates another dimension for them to reside, one where they could not influence the mortal realm ever again. For a time it works, until he realizes that the song that they created to do such a thing created another world entirely. And so Sauron and the 9 ring wraiths went to that realm instead. So the Valar make sure that they get involved this time. No longer will they sit on the sidelines and watch. The Valar and their father would be involved permanently. But when they try to enter this new realm, the Valar realize that they cannot enter it at all. Something or someone stops them from entering. A few centuries before the gods themselves arrive, there was a group of warriors known as the Black Númenóreans. There we go, that's the image I was actually searching for. The Black Númenóreans were the original humans before the mutations of humans turn up, such as Lily, the elves, you know, the usual. They all lived long and prosperous lives, until they're 200, to be precise. But they still feared death. A lot of them still welcomed death as a sign of passing, but they all still fear it. Their king never feared death, he welcomed it. He was a warrior, and he had to accept death on a daily basis. Until one of his servants found a ring that was being sold for a very high price. But little did they know that this ring was cursed. After another few centuries, his lifespan actually had tripled when he wore the ring. He changed his armour into a more terrifying look. And when his servants also changed, they became the Black Númenóreans. But there were also some good Númenóreans too. ones that saw the king's corruption and left his kingdom and ventured over to another land entirely over the sea. When they did, they noticed a huge tower in the background. So, the Númenóreans, 50,000 strong. Originally there was, I'm going to say 200,000 strong. There used to be 600,000 strong. And the rest of them are still loyal to the king and are going on a path of corruption. These warriors, led by Bel's Crenel's great ancestor, moved at high speed towards, the tower. When they finally reach it, the gods themselves, Zeus, Hestia, Freya, Loki, all of them noticed that there was 200,000 armies strong marching towards them at high speed. Them thinking that it is an attack by the kingdoms to the north, send out their adventurers to deal with it. But when the adventurers find their new adversaries, still run towards them, but start to slow as their adventurers get into a fighting stance. Their new opponents do not. They start marching. And then, all of a sudden, they hear this. "We are the Númenóreans of Númenor. We are not your foes. We are your friends." As a voice shouts that from the front. He removes his helmet. "I am Arthur Luberton, the leader of the Númenóreans, the free Númenóreans. Our king has become very corrupt, and me and my men left his armies. But be aware, he could send his army here, and it's twice as much as my army that I've brought now." With one of the adventurers speaking up, even though it's a woman. "And how do we know you aren't the attackers? Answer me this, Arthur Luberton. How do we know you ain't coming here to attack us? You could be the vanguard." "If I was here to attack you, we wouldn't be standing here having this conversation. My king has become very corrupt. His lifespan has quadrupled. Our lives only last for 200 years. And plus we got a bit more brain smarts than everybody else." "I see. But you say you come here for peaceful talks, and yet you bring an army 200,000 strong. What does that tell us?" "That tells you that I'm making good on my promises. We are here as allies, not enemies." "And how will we know that you will not betray us? Do you surely think that we will allow you to simply walk on our soil without repercussions?" As the rest of the adventurers getting more and more antsy, I promise you, we are here as friends. No combat, no nothing. We are here as friends and will always be your friends. My Numenorians are the last vestige of our people that have not been corrupted. We have even brought civilians with us to prove the point. As he points to the back, as men and women's faces could be seen without armor, just normal civilian clothing. With a few children too. I'm making this all up as I go, so please bear with me. This adventurer looks, saying, I still suspect you're lying to me, but fine. We'll take you to our leaders, our gods and goddesses. They will decide your fate. This land has gods and goddesses. Fine. We'll go and see your gods, Miss Wallenstein. Very well, Miss Wallenstein. I am Arthur Lupercan, as you know. There's one of his men speak up, saying, Sir, we must get these civilians indoors quickly. I understand, men. Please, Miss Wallenstein, take us to your leaders. Follow me. As they walk into Aravio. And by the way, that patch of green, yeah, that's where the army is. And that ain't being seen, because that's where, as I said, that's where the army is, so that patch of green is not there. As she moves them all into Aravio, she meets up with Zeus. As Zeus and her look at the Numenorians, as the Numenorians all march within the city, triple file, well, in 3 lines, the Numenorians march into the city. As they walk, dozens of civilians watch them. Some of them are saying, why are the familiars letting attackers into our city? Look at their armor. Wow. Such splendid and gleaming spears. Are these new guards or something? No, it's like, look how many there are. These guys could hold off an entire army by themselves. Hell, they are an army. 200,000 strong. Mom, can I be one of those guys? No, honey, you're not. But Mom, but nothing. Why do I get bad feelings from these two? Why do I get bad feelings from these people? Listen, my brother. You should not pay them much mind. We live for long lives after all. We are elves. Yes, but somebody tells me they can live for a long time as well. 200, 300 years? I'm going to say 200. I'm going to say 200 at most. With some of these Numenorians, with all the Numenorians not taking this to heart, they know that people are just confused. But the civilians, on the other hand, they don't like it. And some of them even try to talk back to these adventurers, saying, unlike you, at least we know how to fight. And some of the guards from the Numenorians turns back to the people, saying, that's enough. Don't antagonize our new friends. don't want a war as they continue marching. So the civilians all start getting restless because this is not fashionable for them. Some even see people working, making armor, clothing, weapons, magical items, as they all march within. As they see the gods and goddesses, as they all stand there looking at them. A man with white hair walks up to them, wrapped in very high steam clothes, as he shouts in a booming voice, "What is the meaning of this? Who are you people who dare march upon our lands? I am Zeus, the god of the Zeus familia, and I am powerful, so please tell me what it is that you all want." "My name is Arthur Lupercal, sir. I am a Numenorian from Numenor. An island, a huge island to the south of the ocean. Well, to the south, across the ocean." "I see. So what can we do with you so-called Numenorians?" "We ask for refuge, sir." "Refuge? Why would you want refuge in my city? Zeus, this ain't your city. There are other gods and goddesses here. This is our city." "Fine. Our city. Well, sir, I came here to warn you and to also offer our services. Not as mercenaries, but as a real army." "And you're saying our familiars cannot do such a thing?" "I haven't seen them in combat, sir, but you'll be impressed of our combat skills. We Numenorians are heightened to a degree where our minds are a lot smarter than everybody else's. Our combat techniques are more refined. We actually stick to rules. We become unstoppable. Start making us train with others and we will wreck them with zero problems." Let's see. "Wallenstein." "Yes, sir." "Teach him a lesson. You will be the first one to test this, see if this is right. Hand to hand only, as you wish. God Zeus." "Very well. I take no pleasure in harming a beautiful woman, but if I must, don't flatter yourself." "I ain't. I promise you, I ain't. Now, fight like a warrior and press us." As Wallenstein would start charging and fighting with Arthur Lupercal, she realizes that his techniques and skills are far surpass hers. Almost like he's been a warrior all his life. As eventually she falls to the ground, panting heavily. How are you this strong? I'm a level 5 adventurer." "It's quite easy, Wallenstein. I am simply and a different breed altogether. With the gods being surprised by this, a mortal actually managing to overpower an adventurer, the Númenóreans were indeed a powerful foe. But they needed to leave on an adventure soon, as Zeus decrees that the Black Númenóreans will have, or the Númenóreans will have land of their own, so their civilians can live in peace and justice. He gives them all a large amount of land, where the Númenórean Empire resides now. Soon after a few years of adventuring, Arthur Lubrical returns to Arario to see the gods and goddesses, to see how they're doing. He is now the ruler of his lands. But he also came for another reason. To see Wallenstein. As she looks at him and smiles. Took you long enough to get my message. What took you so long? Another war. Planning a war with the Black Númenóreans, our ancestors. Well, not ancestors, my former people. You really believe they're coming? I have no doubt that they're coming. My king will not sit idly by. Are you sure about that? I'm sure, Wallenstein. My name is Amy. I've already told you this. My name is Amy Wallenstein. Sorry, Amy, but I prefer to call you Wallenstein. It's more honorable that way. Forgo honor for a bit. Come on, we've been friends for what? 10 years now? Yes, and you look like you haven't aged a bit. Neither of you. You must be in your 40s by now. How did you guess that I'm 40? Never underestimate a woman's intuition. Indeed. So, would you like to go on a small date? I'd love to. Elsie takes her out for dinner, as she actually enjoys her time. Zeus actually picking up on this and keeping a close watch on her, as she is one of his adventurers, and he is very protective of them. But he wants to see how this new king of the Númenóreans and her get on. And yes, you'll see why. Because Eyes is going through a bit of a change. She's not her usual canon self. This eventually, after a year of dating, they finally pronounce they're now engaged. As the Númenóreans all cheer for their new king, who has been in charge for 10 years and has made sure they prosper while building up an army big enough to challenge his former king. The king's last name is Crenel. But please ignore that. But
he receives message that the king was finally killed, and a new king has taken his place. He has asked all of his Númenórean brothers and sisters to return, to partake in the rebuilding of their home. He refuses, seeing it as a trap. And then, once he finally decides to leave, by himself in the middle of the night, he finds someone waiting for him. Well, damn. Our wedding's in a few months. But I couldn't resist coming to see my future husband while he slept. So, where are you going, hon? You can't sneak out of your castle, not without me there. Please come. Amy. Come, my love. There's something I want to check out, but we have to run quickly and silently. Could you keep your little pit-of-hair feet from slamming against the floor? You're the one covered head to toe in armor. I know. Don't need to get cocky. I'm not being cocky, I am being truthful. You're the one, head to toe in armor. But still, let's go. As they both leave, heading towards the sea. As they find a boat that was left there, had a few holes, but they easily repaired it. As they set sail over the sea to find Númenor, as they didn't need to enter or land on Númenor to feel the darkness on the island, not lifting at all, but getting worse. As spiders, trolls, everything are there. They get off and start walking on the island. It's in winter, so everywhere is cold and dark. Darker than it's ever been, with bits of light shining in the background. The moon barely able to penetrate the thickness of the darkness. As they move forth, Wallenstein starts getting chills. And she even says to him, Arthur Lupican, it's way too cold here. How the hell can your people survive here? As Arthur Lupican just says, my people have lived here for generations, Wallenstein. My people have lived here for generations. My king's lifespan, as I said, has tripled. Well, my former king's lifespan had tripled. So, how can we get this place back to normal? We can't. It's in the middle of winter, and the darkness is thick here. I think we both can feel it. Yes, I could feel it. Your former king definitely doesn't know how to hold a welcome party, does he? And ages pass. He used to be quite a well-known king. He was quite respected and resourceful. Really? Yes. We'll camp here for the night. Do we have to? It's cold. Welcome to winter in Númenor, Wallenstein.
Yeah. Here, I'll make a fire. Won't that alert people that we're here? They already know. What? There are dark presences following us. I look quickly. I'm wearing one myself. It hides my features. As she puts it on, as it is this cloak, the one that I started the video with. As Arthur Lupercal makes a small fire that starts blazing after a few hours of trying. It melts the snow nearby and warms Amy Wallenstein up. She says, still cold, but at least there's a fire going now. As she makes her way over to Arthur Lupercal, she sits down in his arms. Well, in between his legs and his arms. And she snuggles up to him, saying, I'm gonna try and get some sleep. We had a long journey here, and I think the warmthness from another body will help. I ain't even fazed by the cold. Glad you're not. I sure as hell am. It's okay, Wallenstein. Let the heat from my body keep you warm during the night. Our friends haven't left us, so they're keeping an eye on us, eh? As the night draws to a close, well, continues, 'cause never can tell what day it is, if it's day or night. Ye finally get some sleep as well, while hugging her. She then wakes up after a few hours, after 10 hours, and he wakes up after 11 hours. As she looks at him, saying, that's the first time we've ever slept together, and we're not even married, yet. Get used to it, eyes. Not eyes, sorry, yeah. Get used to it, Amy. We'll soon be sleeping together permanently with each other. Every night we'll be sleeping together, through rain or shine, through arguments and through fun. You make that fun part sound like you're gonna want kids in the future. You never know. You may want kids. Trust me, I would love to have kids. I'm kind of scared though. What do you mean? Well, you remember when I said I got attacked by that Minotaur a few years ago? Yes. Well, as she lifts up her dress to reveal a scar going across her stomach. Well, it scarred me pretty bad and it was deep. My healer did everything they could, but they said it's possible that I could not have kids. And she drops it back down again. As Arthur Lupercal stares at her in awe, saying, it doesn't matter. We can always try. Thank you, hon. Don't mention it. Now come. As he stands up again. We must go. We must see how far this darkness has spread. Through the mountains we must go. Wait,
through the mountains? Technically we're going up and over them, but my people always say through the mountains. Okay. Is it me, or did winter suddenly stop all of a sudden? Winter usually does stop, yes. But not this early. Someone or something has used the magic to get rid of the winter. So that means someone is following us permanently. Even though it's fully pitch dark still, I can feel the heat of the sun. Ow. How's my leg? As they move towards the mountainside, as the mountain is still covered in ice and snow. As they make their way up it, it takes them a good 2 days to get up the mountain. As they finally reach the top, they see an old abandoned fortress collapsing in on itself. As they see a small fishing village, as they make their way through it, or to it, the civilians seem off. So off it seems like they're dead, and they've only been kept alive through magic. After making their way through the village, they come to the capital of Numenor, as they see a massive fortress covered in a moor that's almost as deep can be, with bridges the sizes of, well, just the size of a small river, spanning in 3 different directions, with lightning zapping all around it. They head inside as they see, eventually after a few hours of walking around, they see a lone figure in a throne room, clad in armor. And Arthur Lupercal recognizes who it is. So, he isn't dead. As Amy Wallenstein looks to him, saying, "Who? That man there, clad in the armor. That's Loras Crenel. That's Loras Crenel, the former king of Numenor. And he is not a nice man anymore." "Is that you, Arthur Lupercal?" It's been so long, my old friend. Who would ever thought that my oldest friend, and one I thought as a brother, would betray me? Betray Numenor. I trust you brought your army back. My army stays where it is, traitor. So much hatred and fire within you. I wonder how long it will be until it boils over. As he grabs his sword and pulls it. "And who's this? A beautiful woman you've brought as an offering for me? As a sign of I have returned, master?" As Amy hides behind him, saying, "I ain't yours. I'm his only. Such a shame. You would have had a brilliant life here, being a queen." "Enough. Crenel, you have betrayed Numenor, all of Numenor, including your Numenorian people. The people chose a wise king. one who is strong. What they have got now is a tyrant. I've seen the people. They seem dead. On the contrary, Lupercal, they are fully alive. They just hide their feelings well. Especially when they know there's a traitor around. As his voice starts turning, as dark mist starts flowing from him. You have betrayed us all. We became stronger. We can take the world over. 5 nations at a time. Our former kingdoms are now one full kingdom of Numenor. The Western Numenorians, the Eastern Numenorians, the South Numenorians, the Southeast Numenorians, the Southwest Numenorians, the Northeast and Northwest Numenorians. We are all one now. And it's all thanks to you. As Amy Fallenstein looks at him, she asks, what is he talking about? Once, Numenor wasn't just called the Kingdom of Numenor, it was just called the Lands of Numenor. And I helped bring it under one ruler, his rule through force. But the first five kingdoms, I didn't feel anything wrong. But once I finally got to the last 3, I realized something was wrong. The 200,000 that were with me started to feel it too. So the last few kingdoms, we gathered all of the civilians, the soldiers, came here to try and deal with Crenel here, with the Crenel family here. The High Lord of Numenor himself. Alul Crenel. That's his true name. Alul Crenel. Not the first one. That was his original name. But his true name is Alul Crenel. Yes, and now, as his voice gets deeper, you will face my power. As his sword starts swirling in flames. As Lupercal and Amy Fallenstein get into fighting positions. As an eye forms behind him, high above his head, but enough for people to see it. As it looks like there's a person standing within the eye, making it the eye. As black speeches could be heard. As Crenel himself started to speak it, as his form changed, as he screamed, his face disappeared, and his armor started walking, as if the ghost of himself was controlling it, as he'd say, "Now, Lupercal, you are dead. You took my son, but the curse I put on him will turn him into king of Akmar, the capital city of Numenor. So strike me down if you must, but that curse will always be a factor of mine. And if you kill me, everyone here dies. That is fine by me then, traitor king. Then die. As all three of them charge at each other. Arthur Lupercal and Amy Wallenstein versus Arul Cornell. As all three clash. Amy found herself on the losing end of a duel with him, while Arthur Lupercal fights his hardest to hold his ground against his former king, who now is a ring wraith, as he taunts them, saying, "Is that the best you can do? Your strength has diminished. You are weak, unworthy of my time." Enough, lackey of the darkness. I will cleanse you, and this darkness will lift. Don't be so certain. As he then screams, as the full blast of the scream hits Arthur Lupercal in the face, sending him backwards, skidding. But then he collapses to the ground as he breathes heavily, saying, How, what the hell are you now? You used to be someone so much better than this. Enor, you used to be so much better than this. But ever since you found out the ring, you were corrupted by it. I go by the Witch King of Akmar now, and you're too weak to face me. And as he gets stabbed in his knee from behind, as Arthur Lupercal slams his blade into his former king's face, as he starts to crumple away, laughing. The curse starts now, traitor. As he fully disappears, with the eye quivering as it vanishes, but with a black speech that says, "So I come, darkness reigns supreme." What was that? That was a message. But that so-called black speech, as I'm going to call it, sounded much too easy to hear for me. What did that thing mean? Darkness has become. I am coming. What does that mean? What does that mean, hon? I wish I knew, Wallenstein. I wish I knew. But come, let us leave this place. I've had enough of it for a lifetime. Agreed. After 5 weeks, they return. the Númenóreans fully re-embrace their king. As he tells them what happened, all of them are in shock and horror as they make preparations for war. There's another 5 months. Well, there's another... Oh, as the end of the month comes to a close, finally, wedding bells are heard. For the people of Númenor and Orario rejoice in song that the new queen of Númenor, of the Númenóreans, Amy Wallenstein. As a few years pass, mainly around about 3, as she walks up to her husband, saying, "Arthur, my love," as he turns around. "Amy, my bright star in my life." "I'm glad you think so, honey. The people are waiting for their king and queen to make their appearance for another summit meeting with Orario. I'm sorry I haven't been here of late, but Zeus and the gods wanted an opinion. They couldn't take you away from your people, considering you barely leave the castle because of your paperwork. But you really do need a vacation, you know, from all this." "I know, my love, I know. But tell me, what does Zeus need? I'm always happy to hear what he has to say, because I get to call him an idiot afterwards." "I know. I've gotten used to you calling him that." "Thank you. Most welcome. Anyway, Zeus just wanted to send you a gift of his gratitude for making sure one of his strongest familiar members is, well, one of the most beloved women ever. Honestly, you are more beloved than I am. My people always ask how you're doing. I'm doing fine. Shall we go? Your people are expecting you. Well, our people are expecting you." "Indeed, my love. Indeed." As you hold out his hand, as she would take it, as she would say, "It's good to be back home, in this wonderful place, with so many wonderful people, and my to die for husband. Thank you, my love, and you are also to die for." As they would walk outside, as the Númenorian people start cheering, saying, "All hail the king, all hail the queen of Númenorians," as they both give off a speech at different times. Not saying the speeches myself, because I actually have no idea what to say. You guys can make up those little speeches, and I will read them myself. Anyway, after the speeches, they return into their own personal chambers, as they both would lie down to go to sleep, because it was actually night time when they finished. But not before having a little bit of fun underneath the sheets. And when they were done, well, let's just say Amy Wallenstein was more than happy because when the doctors walked in to see what was wrong with her, as her husband waited outside, she then orders the doctors to leave after the examination was over. As she says she wanted to tell her husband. As they just bow in respect, saying, "Yes, Your Majesty." As they leave, as Arthur Lupercal walks back in again and walks up to his wife's side, as he kneels down beside her, saying, "My love, what is wrong? What is wrong with you today? You have been very ill." As she looks over to him, saying, "It turns out I'm going to be a mother. You're going to be a father." His face then widens. As she thinks he is upset, she says, "Sorry, I'll get rid of our child if you want." As he pulls her in for a hug, saying, This is now the best day of my life. The second best day of my life. The first, marrying you. The second, raising our child together will be the best." As her eyes widen, she'd hug him, saying, "I thought you'd never say those words. Our child will be loved. But what would that make our child? A Numenorian or a normal human?" As Arthur Lupercal would sit back up again, saying, "I don't know. A hybrid of the two. Most probably with a longer lifespan, but yet again, maybe not with a longer lifespan. Maybe the same lifespan as yours, my love." Thank you. 35 and you're 40. You still look like you're in your 30s. Thank you, my love. Don't thank me just yet. Wait until our child is born. And after 9 months, their child is born, a healthy baby girl. The doctors rush in with everything to help the birth of the princess of Numenor. As Amy Wallenstein sees her daughter with blonde hair matching her father's, as she would smile. As Arthur Lupercal would be sitting by her side, as doctors hand their daughter to them, as Amy Wallenstein would look at her daughter, saying, "So beautiful. She would be a beauty of untold splendor." As she would look towards Arthur Lupercal, as he would have his arm around her shoulders, as he would have his head on her shoulder as well. She would lean in, would also put her head on his, as their daughter would begin crying, as she would say, "Calm down, my daughter. Your mum's here, so's your father." As Arthur Lupercal says, "Amy, I have a name for our daughter." "And what is that?" Eyes Wallenstein. Lupercal. Eyes Wallenstein Lupercal. But her last name will be hidden, because I have a lot of enemies. So it should just be called Eyes Wallenstein. A lot of people know that you are the queen, but they dare not face you because you are part of the Zeus familia. I know, my love. As a few years would pass, his eyes is actually now 4, and her mother is reading her a book about basically the same book in canon. If you read the manga and if you watch the anime as well, you know that her mother read her a book. But I suggest you read the manga first, so you actually get what I'm actually doing. Sorry. It's her mother and father finally. Well, her father finally turns up saying, "There are my 2 precious gems in the world." His eyes runs up to her father as he picks her up and spins her around in his arms. His Amy Wallenstein stand up too and walk up to them. And she would hug them both. As eventually Zeus himself would appear, making an unwelcomed visit with a sad, somber look. As everybody would look at Zeus, as Arthur Lupercal would say, "Zeus, what are you doing here?" As Zeus would finally say, "I'm sorry to be a burden, but I must take your wife with me. My familia, along with another, have been told to go on the 3 grand quests: Behemoth, the Serpent, and the Black Dragon. The 3 grand quests. All 3 of these great beasts must be killed immediately. I haven't come here to ask for the Numenorians' help. I want the Numenorians to fade into myth and legends now. You're asking me, Zeus, to lead my people somewhere else, for us all to vanish." "Yes, I'm asking it, because I need you all to be prepared. I fear a war is coming, and after this mission either succeeds or backfires, a war will come. Of what proportion, I do not know, but I do know it will come." As Amy Wallenstein looks to her daughter and to her husband, with him having a somber look as he looks into her eyes, as his eyes say, "Please, don't." As she looks back to Zeus, as he's standing there with his hands behind his back, just waiting for an answer. As she looks back to her daughter, Eyes Wallenstein, as her eyes as she tilts her head in confusion. As she then looks back at her husband, with his eyes starting to produce tears, as if he already knew her answer. But this is when it shocks him. "No, Zeus." "What?" "Wallenstein, you're one that..." "I said no. Please, Wallenstein, I need your strength. I have a husband and a daughter to look after. I'm also the queen here. You take me away and I die. Who is going to keep my husband in check?" Losing a beloved, even if you've got another, as she strokes her daughter's cheek, as she giggles, even if you have another bright spark, losing one of the bright sparks in your life will weigh heavily on your soul. with Arthur Lupercal sighing in relief as he says, silently and underneath his breath, "Thank God I'm not going to lose you just yet." As she would turn to her husband and kiss him, saying, "I'm staying here, Zeus. You can't force me anymore. I will always still be your familiar. And if you must come here, then come here. But we will not be leaving our homes. We are far enough away from Aurario as it is. Nobody else knows where we are. Apart from you and Athena. No other gods know. We will be hidden here for eternity. And if this darkness arises and comes here, we will be ready for it. No questions asked. So don't worry, Zeus. You'll always have your strongest familiar member. But she's got her daughter and her husband to be with. And they are the biggest gems in her life now. So please understand and please leave. You have unfortunately overstayed your welcome." And Zeus bows, saying, "As you wish, your majesty. But the offer is always there." "The offer has been rejected, Zeus, so stop trying to get me to go on this grand quest. As you know, I've got a husband and my daughter to deal with." As eyes would say, "But Mom, what was he truly talking about? Adventurers?" "You'll understand in time, honey. You'll understand in time. You're a bit young to understand, so I'm going to wait until you're older to tell you." "Honey, I know. I'll inform the people myself. Please, bring our daughter, but stick to the background. I want her to see the people for herself. They need to see me too, not just you. Don't try and keep yourself in the spotlight with leaving your wife and daughter in the background." "Fine. Come on then. Let's make it a little bit loud, little one. So, if you don't like it, please say you don't like it. I'll pass you back to your mother. And then she can most probably bring you inside." "Okay, Dad." "Hey, keep your chin up, little one. These are your people too now. You are a Numenorian. Same as your mother." As well, the doctors would appear, saying, "Your Majesties, we have found something in your daughter's DNA." With Arthur Lupercal looking at them, saying, "You did what? What did you do? Remember when your daughter cut her fingers? Sliced open her entire hand, and I came to sort it out? Yes. Well, the blood on the ground, I took a sample of it. Used my magic to see what was going on. I will admit, it took me some time. Your daughter has your DNA running through her system, my king. She's a true Numenorian. She has our lifespan of 200 years, but it's been expanded to 300. I see. Anything else?" "No, my king. That's all. Thank you. Now please, leave us. There's a speech about to happen." "As you wish, my lord." "I will bow my head to you while you depart." As he does bow his head until the king and queen and the princess depart. With eyes finally seeing a massive amount of people as they all shout, "Hail to the king, and hail to the queen, and hail to the princess." As her father raises his hand, saying, "Silence, my people. This is important for you all to hear." As they all go dead silent. Now that I have your attention, how do I say this? We, the Númenóreans of Númenor, you finally realized that 4 years ago something major happened in this palace. As you most probably see, there's a child wrapping her arms around my neck. Please, could you let go a little bit? I'm struggling to breathe right now. As everybody laughs, including him. As she just says, Sorry, Dad." As he says, "That's all right. Look at all your people." And she turns around with several people saying, "Aw, she's so precious." And not in the Smeagol way. "My precious." I think I can hear him somewhere in the world. As the eyes quickly turns back again. As everybody's hearts just melt at the cute little sight. As he continues his speech. "As you know, 4 years ago, there was a bit of excitement here. And yes, you are seeing what was so outrageous here." As Amy Wonstein would look at him while giving him the death glares, as he would just say, "This little one that caused all the commotions is one of the best things that happened to me in my life, besides marrying my wife. These two are the biggest, brightest spots in my life." But onto the main subject at hand, apart from my little tantrum there. I received word. Our former king placed a curse on his own son. As everybody would gasp in horror, as somebody would just say, out loud, "Our former traitorous king had a son? Who would want to bear a child of that tyrant?" With everybody getting up in uproar, as Lupercal would just shout, "That's enough, all of you! This is something I'm here to discuss now. Now calm yourselves. Is this any way for Númenóreans to work or do? Or, hell, even act right now? You are Númenóreans. Start acting like it." As they all settle down. Right. Now this is something that we must do. He has placed a curse over his own son. I do not know what his son looks like, but the curse over his son, he claims, will turn him into the Witch King. Bit of a bizarre name, but that's also the name he went by, the Witch King. So you ever see someone who's acting suspicious, with darkness starting to cloud them, you run immediately. You do not look back, you just run. The darkness over this boy may even be too much for me. But if it frees the boy's soul, I will make sure to kill him personally. The boy is also a Numenorian. But I don't know what kind of Numenorian. So please, people, prepare for war. There may be a massive war coming. Our enemy has a master. Someone who speaks a foul tongue. And is an eye. A flaming eye that looks like somebody was walking into it. Or out of it. Always, and I mean always, be ready. There could be a massive war between this enemy and us. I need you all to be at your best. We will all begin training. Anyone who wants to join the military, join the military, women included. Because my wife, she's virtually military herself. She's called an adventurer, but to me that is military work. So she is military. And for her sake, I will allow all women and men to join the military if they so desire. This war may cost us everything, but we do this to protect the next generations, and the generations after that generation, so on and so forth. For Numenor, for Arario, for our new home, as everybody would say, for Numenor, for Arario, for our new home. As he would walk back inside with Eyes and his wife. As she would just say, "Well, never thought I'd hear you say that women could join the army now. What brought that on?" Something that I never thought I would say, to be honest with you. Then why did you say it? I don't know. It just came natural to me to say it. Good, I'm happy you said it. Thank you. As suddenly, an eye appears. As it speaks to them. You think raising an army would deter the Dark Lord? The Nazgul will claim your skull and kill your entire family. As it disappears again. And if you didn't hear me, I said, you think this was enough to deter the Dark Lord. The Nazgul will come and claim your skull from you and your entire family. That's when it disappears. Arthur Lupercal says, "So, Dark Lord, bring your army if you must. The Numenorians will be prepared." As he would walk with his wife and daughter, who is very scared. As they walk, they get a vision. All three of them get a vision of a man clad in armor, with no face, as it screams, with 9 others of the same design, but with different modifications to their helmets, appear, as the eye returns, as almost as it's pointing, saying, "There, fight." As they see the army of Numenor, of the Black Numenorians, corrupted. 10 trillion strong versus an army of 60 trillion. As they realize that it's the armies of men, dwarfs, and elves, along with other pieces of mutated humans who have dog-like appendages, cat-like appendages, bear-like appendages too. And if you don't know what I mean, basically they got animal parts on them. Like bear ears, dog ears, cat tails, dog tails. You know, a bit like Bet and Lily and that. And including the maid from Mamma Mia's place. Again, read the manga and watch the anime. You might understand who I'm talking about. As this army clashes with each other, with the Witch King and, well, with the Witch King and this woman clad in armour, as she would say, I will lift your curse. I can see there is good on you. You can make our people back to the ways of old. Crenel, please fight this madman's control over you. I see the good in you. Tear off that mask and tear off that ring. It's what's binding you to his control. Too late for me. I'm sorry, but I cannot do that. You're going to have to kill me. If I must kill you, I'll make sure that it's painless. I'm sorry. Crenel. As am I. Fallen star. As the vision ends. What was that? Was that a vision of the future? Someone's trying to screw with us. I don't believe it. I didn't see me in there, and I didn't see you in there. But the Numenorians, I saw them all. 10 trillion versus 60 trillion. We are the ones on the losing battle. What about the other 8? I don't know. Azai is actually crying, saying, Daddy, Mommy, I'm scared. What was that? As they both hug her, saying, It's okay. It's okay. Just an enemy telling us what's gonna happen. Come. When you're 6, we'll begin your training. I want you to be prepared, just in case. Okay, Daddy. So, she's... Time skip. She was 4. 11 years later, after when she began her training. As she... Well... As Amy says, look at you now, Eyes. My daughter's all grown up into a fine young woman. Indeed. Indeed she has. So are you sure about your choice, my daughter? As the woman from the vision appears, and flesh as she takes off her helmet, revealing her. And she'll just simply say, "Yes, Father, I am more than ready. I will go to Araria, stay there, become an adventurer like my mother." "Princess, but make sure you find a marvelous young boy there. And don't do anything foolish, like, I don't know, you bed him and become a mother yourself at such a young age." And she would blush, saying, "Father, that's not nice." As he would get elbowed in the side, as he would just say, "Ow, what was that for?" "Seriously?" "Yes, seriously. Don't want to become a grandfather just yet. Look at her. She's 15. What? What? Come on, seriously?" "Yes, I'm serious. A lot of people will die trying to get her. A lot of people will try. A lot of people will most probably try and be in bed with me as well. But considering I am an expert with the sword, with you two training me, if somebody is actually on par, if not better, than me with the sword, then that is the one I would marry. Because we need strong leaders. Strong leaders to lead our people. And also, if they're kind, polite, and loving, they will also be the ones I marry. But if they beat me with a sword and are not kind and loving towards others, not for me. But if they're kind and loving but not good with a sword, I'll consider them, because all they need is practice to beat me. But if they're good with the sword to beat me and are kind and loving, I will take them. Now, I must go, Father. I must go, Mother. I'll see you all when I become a top-tier adventurer. I'll return home, with possibly my future husband in tow. Goodbye, and I love you all. Goodbye, my daughter. Goodbye, my bright spark. Love you all. I'll see you when I become a top-tier adventurer again. Long live Numenor. Long live Numenor. Long live Numenor. Long live Arario. Long live Arario. Long live Arario. Long live our new home. Long live our new home. Long live our new home. As she would leave, as everybody would bow before her as she leaves the palace, as a few guards start walking alongside her, as more and more guards start walking beside her, along with dozens of civilians, as she had become beloved by the people as well, just like her mother. As she would reach the gates of New Numenor, as one of the guards would walk to the gates and open them for her, as a bunch of more guards would still walk beside her, and, well, a lot of them would run in front as they start making a walk, well, start standing on guard as the normal, basically as sentries. Sentry, just standing there on guard as she walks past. As she finally reaches the end, she looks back to see her mother and father standing there, hand in hand, as they both bow before her. As all the guards then start bowing as well, along with the civilians, even though she couldn't really see them. As her father and mother look up again, saying, "Whenever you feel like you must return home, the gates will always be open for you." Thank you, Father. Thank you, Mother. As she would turn around and put a fist up in the air with her sword in her hand. With her sword in the other hand, as she would raise that sword up in the air. Sorry, I meant to say that part, not the other one. As she would just scream one last time, "For Numenor!" As everybody would shout, "For Numenor!" But, hey, that is actually where I'm ending it, guys. Hope you like, comment, and subscribe. Sorry if my voice was a little bit low in this. I was trying to actually get into the... Pardon me. I'm trying to actually get into the voice acting of the Dark Lord, aka Sauron. Hope you like, comment, and subscribe. Again, peace.